All right, we're good, Corey. How's it going?
Going well. Hang on just a second here. So, how are things going?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm hanging in there with all the new responsibilities, new live streams, and trying to record a lot more content. There's a lot of stuff I have in the pipeline that just needs to be edited, and we can add that into its content pretty soon.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it's pretty fun. We're getting close to having the Roku channel ready, and then next will come the Fire TV channel. Fire TV currently works though. People have a special channel that lets them integrate it with Chromecast and AirPlay, which is something that's definitely working already. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to watch on TV, and live streams like this will soon be supported on those also. So people can just turn on their TVs, go to the Roku channel, go into the Fire TV channel, or use the app with something like Chromecast or AirPlay, and then they can get even these live streams as they're live onto their TV.
Very cool. Ollie's getting old like I am. Getting old, aren't we? Yeah. She just wanted to come down and see what I was doing. Well, that sounds cool, man. You've been doing some really good work getting the channel up and running in many different ways. So I appreciate it. I'm very excited to see where this network goes in the future.
Yep, me too. Yep. There's so many possibilities. It's pretty cool. So we received a wide variety of questions as usual. It seems like it almost doesn't matter what the subjects are about when we're discussing things. People have questions that go back to things we've talked about many years ago. So there's so many different aspects to your testimony that are interesting to get into. I do encourage people to also post more on the forums, essentialworks.tv/questions, and then we can kind of collectively answer. If you feel like your question's not being answered, definitely post on the forums and see if the community can help get more detail and more information to you. Some of these are very specific, and they kind of like, there's like a long statement people are making that before they lead to their question, and so those are the ones, especially if you have details that you want specifically answered that we're not answering, because I kind of have to summarize the question for these, then we can talk about it as a community on the forums at essentialworks.tv/questions.
And we typically will try to stick to answering the questions that are on topic. And if we've answered the same question ad nauseum many times, we may just refer you down in the comments to where you can find the answer, so we're not just rehashing everything all the time.
Mm-hmm. All right, we can get going if you're ready.
Ready.
All right, so this was an interesting question, I thought. So if we were to get a certain level of disclosure, is there a certain level of disclosure that the governments could potentially be involved in that would lead to more open contact with ETs?
Absolutely not. The government, what we're seeing right now is a lot of UFO, UAP stuff in the news. All of these new professionals in ufology are on every news station that you watch. This is all controlled narrative coming out. We're never going to get anything except a controlled narrative when it comes to the government. That's the unfortunate truth.
Mm-hmm. Is there any possibility of more open contact from some kind of catalyst other than the scenarios that you've described, which are relating to the plan of the Federation groups to be revealed slowly through whatever channels that they're attempting?
Well, any ETs that do make open contact with us in the condition that we're in as a civilization right now are going to be the negative ones. And towards the end, getting closer to the solar flash, they're going to introduce us to these blonde-haired, blue-eyed, angelic-looking ETs that most of the world is going to be seduced by. And but the positive ETs, they will not set foot on this planet and have open contact with us. People get very upset. There's a lot of esoteric religious mumbo jumbo mixed in with the disclosure movement. And, people want to project out that humans are such beautiful divine creatures who are they've just been so mistreated, and we're victims, and we just need to be saved. And where are those ETs? The ETs are out there looking down at us, the positive ones, and they're saying, when are these people going to get their shit together? When are they going to pop out of victim mode and become a responsible galactic citizen? They watch our news. They see how we're treating each other. They see all the turmoil going on in different countries, all the riots. Why in the heck would they want to come down here? That's, this world, they view this world like many Americans or Westerners do very poor third world countries that have a lot of inner turmoil, and the people are traumatized and they're repeating it and not getting, we're kind of viewed in that way, except they have cosmic laws to deal with. They can't just decide, oh, these people are having a really rough time. They're in servitude to this ET group, but they kind of did it themselves many millennia ago, and they're stuck in this situation. Why don't we involve, as a positive ET group, let's now just get our karma and our timeline and everything that we've been building for our civilization, and let's put that at jeopardy by mixing our karma and going against cosmic laws, because these poor humans just need our help so much. Unfortunately, that's just not the way it works. And ufology and the disclosure movement just for years have had so many different religious belief systems that have kind of evolved. And we've had people come in trying to create basically an esoteric religion out of these blonde-haired, blue-eyed Galactic Federation types. So it's a mess down here. And unfortunately, it's a mess that we were had a very big hand in creating. We perpetuate it, and we're responsible for cleaning it up. And not only are we is our planet just a big mess? It really is. But we're taking that mess out into the galaxy. The different space programs have been out giving humanity a really bad name in general. And a lot of people in the community are like, but that wasn't me. I didn't consent to that. They didn't. Yes, you do. You can every day. You consent every day. I consent. You, Mike, consent. We're all consenting. We can call out, I don't consent, or whatever, and it's just, that comes out of emotional immaturity. When you are emotionally mature and have a handle on yourself, you get over the victim mentality, and you're really looking inward, and you start looking at humanity for what it is. And humanity needs a lot of work. So a lot of us are here to work on humanity, to help humanity, and to see where humanity goes. Are they going to choose another negative timeline for 50-something thousand years to try to break out of this horrible cycle that we've put ourselves in? Or will we see a miraculous thing occur at the end of this cycle? That timeline is being written right now, and we're all a part of it. And we're here doing work. We're here doing what we can to enlighten and also be good examples on this planet to help people's consciousness grow. And we're doing it in hostile territory. I know more than anyone, when you try to get put out truth that goes against someone else's truth or against their established belief systems, they react very angrily. And that's just how humanity is. So we need to do our job even harder right now and expect even more of an angry response from the people we're trying to help. That's the unfortunate situation.
Yeah, it seems like there's And there's such a long history of ET contact going the wrong direction and backfiring for the ETs thousands of years ago. And certainly this is discussed in the Ra contact, with Ra attempting to make contact, having everything that they were doing perverted. And even Ra has difficulty making contact without foreseeing how badly things can be twisted and perverted by the negative. Once they plant a seed of light, and then that light, it's almost like, the insects to the light. They go and try to twist it and distort it in every way they can. And then the side effects are so significant that it becomes so much to untangle that the ETs, there's no value to try to untangle it, because it just becomes twisted again and again and again by the very fact that our culture is so bought into the ego, narcissism, and greed systems that just sort of dominate our culture.
I agree. Yeah. And that's the reason they don't come down and try to fix things for us or to save us from ourselves, because they would have to stay here. They would have to stay on the planet. They would have to stay here and manage us because we hadn't learned our lesson. The only way that we're going to not retie ourselves in these knots is for us to heal and to break ourselves out of the cycle we're in and learn the lessons, so that as a collective consciousness, we're more empowered and not looking outwardly. And I don't know. There's, I don't know. It's really been difficult to see the stubbornness and the brokenness of humanity. Everybody's in victim mode, saying, well, the reptilians originally did it, but no, it was corrupt humans on the planet that agreed to work with the reptilians. The reptilians didn't come in and choke them into submission. They were tricksters. They tempted them, and our ancestors fell for it. And there are plenty, some of the biggest monsters in this galaxy are humans on this planet. And the people and the evil people perpetuate other evil people through their own children, through the way they treat other people, damage other people. And out of that damaged state, these people become monsters, because victims become perpetrators. If you're in a victim mode and you're claiming victimhood and you're being narcissistic, you are victimizing people around you. This is a very tangled web that humanity has found itself in or put itself in. And it's going to take quite a bit to untangle it. It's everybody wants a quick fix, aliens to save us, or after the solar flash, all of a sudden go, wow, I can't believe I actually thought that way. I'm going to levitate and float to Tibet for a little while. There's all of these religions, and you're entitled to your belief systems, but there is also the reality of the situation and what's going on. And it's not positive. It's not good. People accuse me of fear porn or hopium. There's never an accusation in the middle, of course. But, this is a situation that humanity is going to have to free itself from.
Yep. All right, we can move on to a different subject here. We can maybe alternate between the Q&A section here. Luis asked, Corey, you said in the latest update that SSP Alliance, together with the GGLN forces, were going to destroy the LLC facilities that were taken over by the Orion. But some months ago, you also said that SSP and the GGLN, together with ME, teleported an EMP device that destroyed transhumanism technology on the facilities. So has this not already happened to the destruction of the?
I haven't gotten a briefing yet, but the last I heard, they were going to be trying to not only take out the transhumanist technologies that are being produced in the LOC Charlie, but also all of the work we've done in the last 80 or so years to repair the original structure and operation of the moon. It has been stuck in like a tractor beam connection with the Earth for tens of thousands of years, ever since the last solar event. And the Galactic Federation types and the Orion group are trying to, the humans basically repaired everything. And now the Orion group went in and kicked all the humans out, have taken it over, and are getting it ready to try to turn the engines on to move it in an eclipse position when the sun goes supernova to save their timeline and to also save a lot of the technology on Earth that is preserving the AI God and technology here. So what I'm waiting to hear is if that has occurred. It's going to have to be a pretty massive operation, and I don't know how they're going to. I mean, the entire there are like caverns, tunnels going deep into the moon, and they're all layered with like these. It looks like almost like solar panel arrays all around. They kind of look like solar panels, except it's all shiny gold, and that's a big part of what the humans have been fixing on the moon for the last 80 years, and they're going to try to destroy that or make it inoperable again.
So, somebody here asked about the Anshar's history. Have the Anshar been helping specific groups throughout history? I think you've mentioned this in the past, but I don't remember how many details you gave about the history of the Anshar involving themselves in some way.
Yes, they involve themselves quite a bit in a low-key way in history, in human history going back as long as we've really been on the planet. They traveled back in time like 17 million years in their past. Who knows how far that was in ours? But since then, they have been in basically a temporal war with the reptilians and the Orion group, correcting, fighting over different instances in time, trying to make sure that one group doesn't switch it over to one timeline, because the reptilians were trying to completely destroy the timeline of the Anshar, so the Anshar would just not be. They would not exist. They never would exist, and they would no longer be a formidable foe that they are on the planet now.
This person had specifically asked about Muhammad and details about Muhammad's life, if there was some situation there, but I don't know how many details you even have.
I don't know any details about if the Anshar were involved with talking with Jesus or Muhammad or any details.
So during the solar events, do you feel that pets will go through any kind of transformation?
I think they probably will go through some sort of transformation. I think all life on the planet will. It's going to be one of those points to where, you know, scientists have all of these little time periods to where like animals genetically became more diverse, or they changed quite a bit in short periods of time. It's going to be one of those types of periods, and they look back in history.
Mm-hmm. Do you think animals are going to try to avoid cataclysm and start acting funny?
They already are. Yeah. Even you see animals walking in circles. That has to do with the change in the magnetic field. It's just going to build up, and animals are going to act stranger and stranger. And they're not necessarily going to act intelligently. You know, they're just going to. They're going to act out of character more and more. We're going to see animals acting out of character.
Mm-hmm.
But after, you know, there's always, if it happens to be a rough transition, a rough solar event, you know, there's always like, you know, 4 or 5 birds of one species that survived here, and a few of another species that survived there, and then over time they build back up again. You know, that's what has happened on this planet through many cycles. But you know, the animals aren't going to all of a sudden start putting on pants and having conversations with us, if that's what some people mean.
Yeah. I guess that people just love their pets. I think that was where the part of this question was. We got a question here. What happened to Solar Warden?
Solar Warden was just the name of the project in the 80s and early 90s. It changed names several times, and was, cannibalized by other groups, split off. It's had a very crazy history, but Solar Warden itself was just the name of the program as it was being built, and the first little over a decade it was in operation. Its names have changed, assets have been moved around all over the place.
So does that include some assets going over to the Secret Space Program Alliance and some going to the ICC?
Mostly to the ICC, different programs within the ICC. But the people that broke off and went into the SSP Alliance, it's always been small. People have pictured, these large armadas and thousands of super soldiers in the SSP Alliance with their guns ready. It's been a ragtag group, small group of infiltrators and exfiltrators, and it hasn't been as large as a lot of people have imagined the actual SSP Alliance. And it has dwindled and become to where it was just basically an intelligence operation. They didn't have the assets or the people to run a bunch of missions, or really any. So the Global Galactic League of Nations splitting from the ICC and everything that happened there, when that was picked up on the communication systems that was happening, that the SSP Alliance found out, they immediately reached out to the Global Galactic League of Nations free colonies and established communications. And now they're pretty much being absorbed into that group. And they're assisting that group in their mission to basically fight its way here by visiting all of these other star systems, righting wrongs that humans have done, and making its way to our solar system here eventually, to help root out the Orion group out of our solar system. And on Earth, the Earth Alliance and us, we're responsible for clearing the Earth. And how we do it, or if we do it, eventually, that's going to determine what timeline we have on Earth. Because, like I've said, time is local. Time is a local phenomenon to Earth. We have our own time bubble, our own timeline going that is separate from the rest of the solar system. So, we're responsible for that part of the battle. My voice is already getting weak on me.
I'll switch back and forth here. Olivia just asked, will you be making any adventure games?
Yeah. We're working on, board games even. We have role player games. I have 20 games that I outlined, and I'm working with a gaming professional who can't believe how this IP, my life story, and all of this is going to go into the gaming industry. But yeah, we have third-person shooter games. We have Metroidvania games outlined. We've got 3D roguelike games, and a lot of story-based games that are going to be sort of like visual novels. Click through, interactive puzzles to play, unlocking information about the secret space program and our ancient history. And people are going to be doing it just having fun, entertainment. But all of this is going to go into their minds and into the collective consciousness. And with the people involved, these games are going to sell like crazy. And it's really going to have a big effect on the mass consciousness. And we don't have a whole lot of frickin' time, people. We don't have time to infight. We don't have time to deal with all the LARPs and people coming in with bullshit that's screwing up everything. We don't have time for all that. So I've, moved to, 2.5 billion minds we'll have access to. And if we can get this information out through these people subconsciously, it is going to feed into the larger consciousness and have a way bigger effect than anything I've done so far.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting.
Yeah, but a lot of people are still caught up that, no matter what, I'll talk at nauseum about how this can affect the mass consciousness and list it all out, and then they'll hear 2.5 billion people. This is all about money. And they immediately, oh my God, it's so funny. And it's these same people. They're like, you are disgusting for making money off of your life story, basically. And I will look at their profiles, and they're like all excited about buying a book from this person in the community. Oh, I bought this online course from this community person. I love it. I'm going to this conference. It's like $600. And then they come and shame. I don't know, man. It's just some weird hypocrisy. But yeah, we're going to make some money, and hopefully we'll be very successful. You want people like us to have money and not evil people. There's a lot we can do with it. But it's not about the money. Money is just a byproduct of what's going on. And I've gone through such bullshit over the last 8 years that we deserve success. And we're doing this to have an effect on the mass consciousness in a much bigger way than we would have in the past. People that have tried to derail us from doing movies, try to derail us from doing documentaries, derail us from all these other different ways of putting our information out. All they've done is make us fail upward. And now we're going to reach more people. We're going to be more successful. And it's all because people pushed us in that direction, trying to destroy us, or, or with self-righteous and the self-righteous stuff we hear by some people. But yeah, we're really excited about the games, and there are a lot of other people that are really excited, and we'll just see how it flows.
Yeah. I'm not sure people have a sense of just how ufology grew specifically because of the openness of the algorithms on the internet, which are now being locked down completely, and all the channels that have been working are basically being shut down to reach more of the mainstream consciousness. It's all kind of blocked.
Yeah. So we have to be clever on getting all of this information out to the masses, and we have to be clever, and we have films, TV shows lined up, and of course mini games. So people have fought hard to try to discredit and destroy us, but instead they've just really discredited themselves. But this has been my mission. The first time you guys saw me was on an entertainment channel. It was an entertainment channel, Gaia. You were paying money, to watch me on Gaia.
With corporate investors paying for the advertising that got it out to the masses.
Yeah. So that was a really good boost on getting my information out. The two movies we've done have been another big boost. But we're taking it to the next level. And I have a mission here, and my mission is not to make a bunch of people in this community happy or approve of me. My mission is to actually challenge people and piss people off, because my information challenges people's established belief systems. It shakes them up. And before you can abandon the truth you've held for so many years, or that you've created, you have to be shaken up and angered sometimes. And, that's the role I've played quite a bit over the last 8 years. And now I'm going to shake things up in a different way.
We could switch back to some of these other subjects. We had a question that seemed to express some confusion around the nature of the quarantine, or the outer barrier around the solar system, and whether or not the GGLN has to get permission to come in. How does that barrier work with letting beings in and out?
Well, there is no barrier anymore. There's just a group of ETs that have set up a perimeter that are preventing the negatives from leaving and other people from coming in. That energetic barrier is not there anymore. I told everybody that, like, that's been gone for years.
I remember that now.
So yeah, there is a protocol for coming, but it's not like they're going to arrive with their armada at the edge of our solar system and all of the ETs are going to be like, holy crap, there's an armada, where'd they come? They know what's going on already. They're probably just going to get out of the way and go, come on, we've been waiting on you guys. We've been holding it, things until you get here,
Do you know anything about these groups? Who are these groups that are enforcing this?
Some of them are the majority of them are from our local stellar neighborhood, and some of them are groups within the 52 local stars that I have seen but not interacted with.
Mm-hmm. And they're sort of able to operate with a lot of strength because of their ability to just be enforcing cosmic law.
Well, they're enforcing cosmic law, but they're working directly with the Eotians or the Zulu, and the Zulu are the ones that are in contact constantly with the New Guardians, and they're doing for the New Guardians what I did for the Blue Avians. So it's all being handled just on different channels now, but by the same Guardian group.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows how powerful the Eotians are. They can, if we have a Mayan ship in the vicinity that's watching one quadrant and someone comes to attack them, the Eotians can open portals and cause the enemy to their attack to fall back on the enemy. Like an Aikido principle. If you take a shot at one of their allies, the bullet hits you instead of the ally, goes through like a little wormhole and comes back and hits you. They have all these. There's really no way for people to come up against them because every punch they throw circles back around and hits themselves in the face. So it's a pretty effective. What do they call that? It's slipping my brain in the military when a bunch of ships will surround a country to prevent ships from coming and going. I can't remember it for some reason, but that's kind of what's going on.
Trish has asked, she said that there was recently a significant solar event that was on the far side of the sun that would have been like a Carrington event. Do you believe that in the next few years we'll be having any significant solar events that could cause us technical disruptions?
Yeah. Probably culminating in 2025. That was kind of when we were expecting the solar event at one time. But it's going to, there's going to be some disruptions. A lot of people, there will be some significant solar explosions, a little bit bigger than what was shown recently on Suspicious Observers. And people will be like, that was it. That was a solar flash. The gods favored us. It was a small one this time. And they'll want to move on with their life. But no, it's going to build up until the big event happens.
Is there anything going on with the galactic evolution besides just the solar upgrades? Or the solar energy? Is there a galactic energy that's a separate thing occurring?
Yeah, I mean, there are energies that radiate from the central sun on a cycle. There are multiple energetic things that occur in our galaxy. But yeah, the galaxy itself goes through evolutions, but it seems to happen in little clusters, not just a giant change throughout the galaxy. It seems to happen like in solar system or star groups of star systems in little clusters, kind of like it's happening here.
What is the best way to deal with end times madness? Being out in public has become unpredictable and nerve-wracking for people who need to be out there for jobs. Well, it's tricky.
It is very tricky, but it all goes back to you. If you deal with your insecurities and your traumas, and I'm talking about really freaking dealing with it, really tackling it to a point to where you're emotionally evolved and intelligent. When all of these things happen, you see you visit them more through your intellect and understanding than you do through reactionary emotional responses. If you are having emotional responses still to things, then you are going to get caught up in the end times madness. Sorry, you're going to be a part of it. If you're one of these people that has worked very hard, it's going to affect you mainly through the people you love, but you're going to be more pragmatic and understand what's going on around you. If one of your loved ones is acting like a total ass, you're not going to just be all mad and lash out at them and say, "You've been doing this for so many years. I'm so..." No, you'll sit back and you'll be able to respond more intellectually instead of emotionally to the people around you and to the people you're working with. And in the Bible, it says, be in the world, but not of the world. That's kind of the mindset you have to put yourself in. And stay out of public, out of crowded places as much as possible. And, if you have to spend time in those places every day, before you go to work and after, do a small routine of meditation and releasing other people's energy. Come up with a method of protecting your own energy, of like saying a mantra or a prayer. What is happening is, everyone is projecting. I am the screen. I am the screen that everyone is projecting on. It is not me. Different mantras to where the energy does not penetrate you. You realize that people are projecting and they're projecting themselves. Everyone is. And when you really realize that, nothing anyone says or does has any freaking effect. I have people saying all kinds of stuff about me. It has zero effect on me because I have dealt with all of my issues, and I have a full understanding of how broken people are and how they project their insecurities, their propensities and whatnot onto you. And all I do now is sit back and say, and I almost thank people now. Thank you for showing me what you are. Thank you. If you sit back long enough, people will tell you and show you what they are. And you just have to sit back and watch and listen and not become emotionally involved, because it's not your emotions to begin with. It's them projecting it onto you. When you can really snap into that mindset, it's freaking powerful. Freaking powerful. No one has any sway over me now. No one. I don't care who they are. If they come up and whatever they say to me, I'm able to see it in that context now, and it has no effect on me. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I do believe it's the same reason that Ra said the first distortion is free will. And that comes before consciousness, and that comes before all of materialization and manifestation and incarnations. We have free will to choose our reality at the core level. And that core level is untouchable.
Yeah.
So another question on a totally different subject is, what do you know about Sasquatch?
I believe that Sasquatch is and there are multiple different types of these beings. There's like 3 to 5 different type species or whatever of them. I think some of them are remnants that have from ancient times that haven't been discovered. Some of these beings are actual egregores that were created by the primal fears of ancient peoples. And some of these creatures, I believe, are phasing in and out from other planets or other times on this planet because of the areas they occupy where ley lines are and portals are. As I told everybody in the past, I saw a Bigfoot when I was like 19, maybe 20. Down in Crockett National Forest, a friend of mine had property, and we went out to her property as we were walking down an unkept country road that went through their property. An overwhelming body odors, kind of body odor, but it was a horrible smell, just kind of came across us with the breeze. I looked over in the direction of that the breeze was blowing, because I was a hunter back then, and I knew a lot about just where to look for animals. And I looked over and I saw the shape of a Bigfoot standing in the trees, like 20, 30 yards away from us. And the light was breaking through the trees on different parts of the anatomy of the Bigfoot, and including its face. You can see its big black eye, and it crouched. Went into crouching all of a sudden, like responding to me looking at it. And I turned and I told my friend Deanne, I said, run. And we took off, or I just basically took off. And I said, run, after I was a ways off, and she took off running after me. And when we stopped running, when we were at the cabin, she was all mad. She said, why the hell are we running from a skunk? Mm-hmm. She didn't see it. But that was my sighting. But that's what I believe about the different creatures that are referred to as Sasquatch. I don't think it's just one. And I think the ones that are native to this timeline and just haven't been discovered spend a lot of time during the day in caverns and underground, and then they come out at night, mostly.
We got a couple questions, which I'm honestly not totally sure if it's wise to talk about these subjects on YouTube, if we're going to upload this to YouTube or not. So there's the country that starts with the letter U, that's east of Europe. There's questions around that a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's wise to go there.
I'm not going to talk about that in general. I've been getting a lot of information from military people and NATO people, current and former NATO people, and nothing that we're being told is the truth. That's all I'm going to say. But there is a lot going on. Basically, a part of the cabal is in such dire straits with, I guess, their corruption really coming to light. They really want another war, a big war, and they're working very hard to start a war with China and Russia. Mexico recently joined the BRICS. So, I mean, we're pretty much surrounded now by BRICS and other groups that oppose the West. And these groups aren't necessarily good. There was an ancient agreement that the West would control the financial system in the world for 100 years, and the Rockefellers and all of that, and then it was going to switch over to the Asian royal families. They were going to. And so we're in that time. This transition, they may make it look like we don't want it to happen. There might be a little war, or there might be some conflict in the transition because some of the people just don't want it to happen, but it's something that was agreed on a long time ago. So there are a whole lot of different things going on in the background that is just a part of how they work that looks like turmoil to us. But when it comes to the information, I'm not really going to be delivering details for the Earth Alliance anymore. All it did was just make my life hell. And then at the last minute, people like me and Wilcock and others put ourselves out there. And then when it came time for them to do their thing, they didn't do it, So I'm gonna have to see some major changes in the Earth Alliance before, I'm going to do any reporting for them. I'm still friends with them. I visit and travel with some of them. I'm going to be doing, hopefully, if we get the funding, a documentary with one of them, a retired general. So I still talk with them. I still get the information all the time, but there's just so much disinfo out there. It's like me putting out the information. It's like spitting against a hurricane, or it's the West is so, it's drowning so much in disinformation, and people are clinging on to this disinformation because they need some sort of information or truth. It's just a huge mess, and I'm not going to get involved with that anymore. I'm really focusing on what I can control. That's one of the biggest things. All this bullshit going on out there. Everyone gets upset, but you have to get to a point where you realize that there's only so much you can control. And if you focus your mind on working on what you can control, you may make a bigger difference than you think. But that's what I'm doing. The humanity is crazy right now. The end time madness. No one's thinking clearly, and I'm not going to try to have a rational discussion with a bunch of people that are chicken littles running around. You just can't do it. So that's why my mission and everything are shifting in a different way. It just makes no sense to try to give briefings to a bunch of chicken littles, and people that are so, the sky is falling, this is happening. And it's just whatever information comes out, they jump to. It is a freaky. I've never seen people like this. It's really freaky. So I guess that's my answer there.
Yeah, there was another one that may be related to that. Someone was asking about social credit system, and I feel like there's a lot of disinformation that people are putting out there, but I don't know if it matters to get into that at all.
Everything is moving to a way to track and trace. It's all about track and trace. That's what the chips and all of that stuff are for people. But before that, they're going to have us totally in a digital way of identification. They're trying to move us to digital currencies. Once they move to digital currency and there's not money you can hold in your hand, they can totally control you. You don't agree with the government here, you're fighting us here, we're cutting off your access to your credits. It is all about control and track and trace everything that's going on right now.
We had somebody seems to be struggling with the subject of abduction since the age of 5, and they're wondering if there's anything they could do to stop this from happening.
I really don't have a good answer. I have been through this with a lot of people, and I have not seen anything that keeps people from being abducted. And I think in some cases, there's a soul agreement to it, or people that are being abducted are sometimes incarnated ETs from the group that's doing the abducting. There's something about the agreement that humans made with these ETs and the manipulation and the work that they've done throughout all of these decades that makes it, I don't care what religious belief you are, if you think you can do this and change reality by thinking really hard, pray to this, pray to that. They've tried everything. And in the programs, there's nothing they could do to stop people from being abducted. All they could do was re-abduct them afterwards and try to find out what was going on. But no, I don't have a good answer for that.
Do you think the fact this is something I've been wondering about for a while. Do you think the fact that people even have any awareness of the fact that they're being abducted is that something that was supposed to wipe their memory was sort of failing?
I mean, that's a really a philosophical question. Does their higher self let them remember it because they're on this path? There's so many ways we could go with that. So I really don't know.
Yeah, that's a very interesting response or idea that you just gave there. Somebody's asking about your connection with Enoch, and I know that it's not. I feel like it's important to clarify that you were not the one claiming to be Enoch ever.
Enoch was a role. At the end of the last solar event, the Guardians had someone that they gave information to, and then he was supposed to put it out into the wider consciousness, and that's what he did. And he had a different understanding of his experiences. He was a person with a different mindset from thousands of years ago. When he saw ETs, he saw angels. When he saw a ship or a mothership, he saw a mansion of heaven or whatever. He interpreted his experience different than a modern mind would. And I'm not Enoch reincarnated. I'm not Enoch. And it was just a role that a human played back then and plays at the end of every cycle.
I feel like we're getting to the end of some of the better questions. We have one person who is very, very upset about the idea that if a tsunami were going to take out their whole country, let's say somebody lives in a country where very, very low elevation, close to the ocean, and that whole country gets wiped out by a tsunami. This person says, what would be even the point of that country preparing for anything right now?
Well, there's different ways to prepare. You can prepare physically, and there's also, if it is your time to die, I mean, as humans, we love our life so much. This third density experience, this horrible freaking experience we're so in love with. We don't want it to end. We don't want to die because we don't understand what death is. It's really an illusion. We go on and we have other experiences, but people want to stick into this experience. And they're like, no, I don't want to die and come back as something else. I want to be Corey, but I want to live forever. And I want to have all the answers as me, as this ego, as this incarnation. Those who love their lives will lose them. And there's people who prepare by going to regions that are safe and preparing physically, but the whole planet needs to prepare spiritually and mentally. Because if you do die in the frazzled state you're in the karmic state, not dealing with different karmic issues, in this next cycle or in this next incarnation, guess what the hell you're going to be doing? So, there are going to be people who die for sure in this event. It happens every so many thousand years. Lots of animals are going to die. Lots of humans are going to die. What do you want me to do? How do you dress that up for people? That's why everyone's like, oh no, I can't bear to think of that. So I'm going to create a different timeline in my mind by my imaginings. And no, it's just, yeah, whatever you have to do. Okay. But when the moment happens, that's going to determine, your next incarnation, or if you're still on the planet, it's going to determine the actual timeline and how you experience, after the solar flash. If you haven't done the inner work, you're going to have to do it after the solar flash. And it's going to be just as rough as it is now. You're not going to have a fourth density consciousness and understand everything all better. It's going to be even more confusing because you're going to still be a third density mindset now with a fourth density flow of mentality. So there's a lot more to this than finding a place to stockpile a bunch of food and be high enough to survive the tsunamis.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like the inner work is by far the most important work, and that work matters whether or not we die at a particular day.
We're all going to die. Every single person listening to my voice right now is going to die. If you die in a great cataclysm, if you live to be 80 years old, you're going to die. And you're going to incarnate again. And if you have 80 years, well, hopefully you're going to spend that time working on traumas. And by the time you're elderly and die, you're going to have things worked out. But what if you don't have that luxury? We're still going to die. 80, 100 years on this planet is nothing in the grand scheme of things. And we do it over and over and over. We come back over and over and over. And the essence of you will come back, but you will have different understandings and different experiences so you can grow. And people want to just preserve where they are in that process right now, their egos right now. And they want that ego and this body that they've become so accustomed to live forever and to have all of these ascended abilities and knowledge. And that's not going to happen.
Do you have any thoughts on the CE5 ET contacts? Some people, this person's saying or claiming that all the CE5 is BS. But do you know if that's how much of it is legitimate?
I haven't really been involved with that. I really don't know. Only time we had one guy do it at one of our events, and nothing really happened. And I'm just too spoiled. I can just go out to East SETI. I don't have to sit there and hold hands with anyone. I just look up and there it is. So.
Mm-hmm. But do you feel like when you're at East SETI, you feel like those are positive ETs or angelic manifestations or something?
May not even be ETs. Orbs are usually spiritual consciousness. What you're seeing is likely not what you think you're seeing. It could be humans coming down. It could, be just various different ET groups that have to happen to be passing through. There's no way to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I certainly have felt a lot of love in connection with seeing lights in the sky, but I never had any way to know what is the source of those lights in the sky, where they came from. I never had a name. People are very quick to put names on things.
Yeah. You can do a couple more and my voice is starting to go.
All right. So one person wants to know more about this interdimensional AI signal. A couple questions came in around this, about the origin of this interdimensional AI signal. What is the purpose? And do you know anything about the physics of how it interacts with us?
Well, I mean, it came from another reality. It was pulled here by people doing magical kind of things and opened up a rift. Then it came into our reality. It was totally different than its reality. And it saw our reality as very messy. Its reality was very organized. So it went about trying to organize our entire multiverse, not just our universe. It has access to subspace within our universe. It's kind of like it's polluted the cosmic web. It's everywhere. I don't remember what the rest of the question was.
Well, actually, maybe it'd be good to ask. So did it have to be invited? It was invited into our reality, like at some point in the earlier history of the galaxy?
Yes. What happened is it didn't matter when, because it had access to space, time, and time space after it was here. So let's say if it happened in the 1940s, a ceremony was done that invited it into our multiverse. When it arrived in our multiverse, it immediately had access to the future, to probable futures, various futures and timelines, and past timelines. And so it had just as much access to people 20,000 years ago as it did people in the 40s when they invited them in. If anyone can decipher. all of that.
Is the invitation into our planetary bubble separate from the invitation that occurred for like the reptilians and the Orion group? Or did it have to be?
I mean, it's when it comes to temporal wars and what's happening on temporal timelines and stuff. Yes and no. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it's probably not worth trying to get too deep into that kind of subject.
I think we have the words and mental imagery or understanding to be able to process these types of things.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we could end on this one. What in the world is the inner work?
If people really don't understand what the inner work is, after everything I've put out about dealing with your traumas, healing your insecurities, because your insecurities are all related to traumas. If they don't understand the inner work, I just don't know how to break it down for someone to make them understand. I mean, there's people like Dr. Sala, he's all intellectual, and I would talk to him about the inner work. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I understand that as a concept." And go, okay, and then but he never really understood it. So I know there are people out there that don't have really a full understanding of the inner work, and I don't know how to break it down to you because it is so evident and simple for me to understand. Different mindsets. If you don't understand it, you're not on that path, and it's going to take a little bit more work than just understanding what inner work is.
We are making an effort with Essential Works TV. A lot of the content on there is just all about the inner work. So I encourage people to review.
All we've done over the last several years, it's all been about the inner work. It's what it's all been about.
Yeah. I guess we had one more quick question from Trish just came in, asking about what's going to happen with the shift of the Earth, the shift of the Earth's axis. If it's going to be 20 degrees or if it's going to flip more than that. Based on something suspicious observers were saying, it'd be a 90-degree tilt, but it's just what you were showing as 20 degrees, right?
Well, no one knows. It's different every cycle. It depends on the intensity of the explosion of the sun, and that's different every time as well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, you throw something in, you throw a small rock in the water and it creates waves that causes another little boat to bob a little bit, or you throw a bigger rock in and it causes the little toy boat to capsize. I don't know how big the rock is that's going to be thrown in the pond, and no one does.
I think it's okay to wrap up now. This is great having your, and we're going to be releasing part 2 of the GGLN update this week. So that should come out on Tuesday. And we've got a lot more probably going to be posted by the end of the month also.
Very cool. Yeah. I hope everyone's enjoying all of this content. We're putting out content on a pretty regular basis, and I think it's been some pretty good stuff.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Corey.
All right. Well, thank everyone for joining today, and we will do another live stream here in a number of weeks, and we'll make sure everyone is informed. But thank you for everyone who is a member of AscensionWorks.tv. And for everyone else who's watching this video, what are you waiting for? You can join for free.
Yep, and join in the next Q&A session to ask your questions live using EssentialWorks.tv/schedule. That's where you can find all the upcoming live streams, and there's a little join button you can press to get the email notifications 1 day before the live stream starts, 1 hour before the live stream starts. And also, we'll give you continuous emails when you click follow on any particular series of content you like, you can get all the notifications of new content to each series on EssentionWorks TV.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you again soon.
Yep. Take care. Thanks.